And whatever could have enough energy to move a physical object, I mean, that's just hard to put your head around. When I was a little girl, I lost my mom to stage 4 cancer. It was those 5 days after her death where I'd have my first ever paranormal experiences. Little did I know, it was just the beginning of what would become my haunted life. We lived in Malden for 6 years together?
I think it's 7.
7? Okay. It was just a 1-bedroom apartment, really cute, in Malden, Mass. Just outside of Boston. You worked 2 jobs, and you were working about 70, 80 hours a week?
Every week, yeah.
So you were never
I had
home.
some months that were 30-day stretches without a day off, so I was never home.
And then the nights you were home, I mean, it was literally nighttime.
Yeah, I would get home at 1:30, sometimes 2 in the morning if the trains were stupid, and then I would get up between 6 and 7 a.m. and leave, so was basically never home.
And I remember in the mornings, when he would get up for work, I'd stay in bed for another hour or so. But I would start to experience things, and then I would relay to you my experiences. And I know for a while I don't know if I'd say skeptical. It's not like you disbelieved me, but you never experienced it.
Right.
I know a majority of it was hearing things going on in the kitchen.
Yeah.
So I would hear cabinet doors, shutting, that sound it makes when a cabinet, hits the rest of the cabinet. The cabinet door hits the cabinet. I remember hearing, dishes clinking in the sink. I don't know, just weird sounds coming from the kitchen. It was just a bunch of little things like that I would relay to him.
Yeah,
but
I mean, it's
never
just funny because
it.
I'd always be at work, and so we messaged each other all the time on AOL's Messenger. But it just was funny because you would always just be like, this freaky stuff happened, I'm hearing sounds or whatever, and I'm just like, yeah, okay,
right.
I'm working. So our kitchen was kind of the same room as the living room, and it had, I guess, a bar that you could sit at in a way if you think about a high countertop and you could pull a stool up against it.
Just like an open concept living room and kitchen for
Yeah.
the apartment.
And so, I don't know, we often kept our mail and stuff, just junk on top of that. And we had a stack of papers and cards, and one of the cards was from my grandmother. I don't remember if it was a birthday card. I think it was a Valentine's Day card for some reason. Either way, I mean, it was there for weeks, and just in a stack. And it was one of those cards where if you opened it up, it would play music. And either way, it was there for weeks. Obviously, we kind of just forgot about it. And one day we were both just sitting down. I don't know if we were watching TV or whatever, but it was night. And I feel like it was late at night, too.
Yep, it was.
But I just remember out of nowhere, the card just started playing music.
But there's things stacked on top of it, and it was closed.
Yeah, and it just freaked us out because we're like, why would that play music? And so obviously I went over and was trying to figure it out, and I was opening and closing it and everything. And I mean, it was pretty, I don't know, trying to debunk it. It was like, well, if you open it, it plays. If you close it, doesn't. But it was strange. And I don't know. I remember it freaked me out enough that I felt like I had to contact my grandmother because I was like, did she just pass?
Right.
Is this a message?
What
is this some kind of sign? But it was just really weird that a closed Valentine's Day card would just randomly go off by itself.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, this happened all in the same period of time that the other things we're going to mention. It was a flurry of activity.
Yeah.
So there was that, which
and
was
then
strange.
I want to go to the bananas.
Yeah, which was also on that counter.
So, yeah, same counter. That's actually interesting. You know what? Let me get a demonstration. 1 second.
Oh, okay. Hold on. La 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 la. Use your catnip banana.
Hold on. I have before you Exhibit A. A banana holder.
Get the catnip banana.
I will. Hold on.
So, banana holder.
So, we had a banana holder. Just like this one. Sitting on that little, bar top area. Moment writing. Sitting on the bar top area. And, I mean, hold this.
Whatever. It's flat.
No.
The point is this was on a counter.
Stop. So, the counter... My arm's
Her hand's a counter.
So the counter, runs along the whole kitchen. And then a little bit this way was the kitchen sink. And we had nanners.
It's a real banana.
Anyways, so what ended up happening is you and I were sitting on the couch and we heard like a plop. It's not funny. Anyways, we heard a plop. And we both jumped, obviously, and looked over to our left, and we're like, what the fuck? And we went to explore, and our whole bunch of bananas was in the sink. And it's significant because as the bananas were on this, it's not like when they become a little bit too ripe and they start to kind of like break off.
Yeah,
so
it wasn't like one peeled.
It wasn't like one peeled and fell in. And also, this mechanism itself wasn't tipped over, so it wasn't like the weight was unevenly distributed and this tipped and they fell in. Like, none of that sort of thing occurred. Literally this whole bunch
this whole bunch of bananas,
of healthy bananas that were not too ripe would have had to have been lifted up and then brought like this and then dropped.
Yeah, it was
for
weird.
them to end up in the sink.
Like,
it wasn't close for them to fall in either.
Right, because you would expect that the hanger would have either moved in some way or that the bananas would have been like peeled. I don't know. It just looked like they were lifted and then placed in the sink with force. What are you looking at?
I was checking the time on the thing.
So that happened.
And and then
keep in mind, just a sidebar, that around this time was also, I'm pretty confident, when that bank robbery happened in Saugus. So
they stole a car.
Yep.
They took off down the road. They came into the parking lot of the building we lived in to then get rid of that car and hijack a new one. And on their way out of our parking lot, after hijacking a new car, the police shot and killed, I think, at least one of them.
They killed one of them in the
driver
car.
In the car. We're moving on to the Wii Sensor.
Well, this was just weird because if you know the Wiimote sensor bar, it's just a little horizontal bar. I don't know. I mean, it's flat and it's thin.
And it has a thing that it sits in.
Yeah, you put it either
on.
on top or below your TV, and we had it on top, and it had double-sided sticky tape, which is the significant point.
And there is a cable that connects to it, which is also significant when we get to that part.
Right.
So it must have been probably around 2:30, 3:30, somewhere in that
Middle of the
time
night.
bracket.
Yeah.
Where it was very odd because both Ryan and I, literally from a dead sleep, we both sprung up like Don't Wake Daddy, that freaking game, the board game where, you play around and all of a sudden he just springs up out of bed. It was like Don't Wake Daddy, where we both just fucking sprung up and our eyes just opened. And as that happened, the sensor, as if someone was trying to throw it. And I say it like that because it went flying to the point where the wire, like,
pulled it back. Yeah.
And then pulled the thing back.
It's like, I mean, if you've ever just been startled in the middle of a dead sleep, when you just jump up and your eyes are just bugged out of your head and you're just freaked out. It was that. We just both sat up as fast as possible, and I saw the Wii sensor bar get thrown like towards us until the point where there wasn't enough slack on the cable, and then it fell down and started smacking against the TV.
And then it all leads up to...
So this is probably the coolest one.
This is the most significant. I mean, like I said, we just kind of experienced like a domino effect of weird little things leading up to this. And we were getting ready for a road trip. And so we wanted to have some kind of security for our apartment. And Ryan had like this little cheap webcam that...
Yeah, keep in mind this was like a decade ago practically. Well, not quite, but...
Almost, yeah. We were doing...
Technology wasn't as cool.
Yeah, it's not like it was.
I'll tell you. I had an old laptop, and I just knew, like, okay, well, we're going to leave. We're going to be gone for like 2 weeks. I'm freaked out about someone breaking into our house. So I took the old laptop, and I hooked up a webcam, and I found this software that would... If it detected motion, it would send you a still picture, because it couldn't even do video yet.
No video.
We didn't really have that yet. the internet was too slow. Either way, it would take a still photograph, and you could get it to email or text you. So there was one weekend when we were going up to my dad's house, and we knew that we were going to spend the night. So I thought, oh, cool, this is a perfect opportunity to just test this. And I wanted to show Sarah because I hadn't really shown her yet. So what I was doing was I set up the camera, and this is significant because for it to detect motion, you had to leave the lights on, obviously. In a pitch dark room, it couldn't detect anything. So I was showing her, hey, check this out. I got this webcam. If we move in front of it, it's going to text me a picture of our movement. And so when we were leaving to go to my father's house, I'm like, let's turn it on for the weekend, and if anything happens, we'll know.
So we're not even maybe 10 minutes down the road, and
I think we got gas or something.
Well, we got gas, but we were just about to turn onto that road that led to the traffic circle.
Yeah, we were still in Malden.
Right there.
We were right down the road.
We're still in Malden, right down the road.
Yeah.
And his phone starts getting notifications saying that the camera was going off. And so I'm like, oh, let me, Ryan's driving. I'm in the passenger seat. So I'm like, let me open it up and see what it's showing us. And I open it up, and suddenly things were darker, which was strange because we knew we left the light on and we knew what the kitchen looked like, and suddenly the images were being sent were dark. And I'm like, right now it's showing what looks like the light being turned off. And I look at Ryan and I'm like, only one of two things could have possibly happened that we need to turn around and go find out which one it is. And I said, one is the light bulb burnt out.
Yep.
Or when we walk in to our front door, we're going to see the light switch flicked down into the off position.
Yeah.
And the entire time, I just had this feeling where I'm like, it's going to be the light switch, isn't it? It's going to be I don't know, there's just this feeling. I can't even describe the feeling, but it was just eerie. And you're like, what am I about to open my door to find out? And when we opened that door, sure enough, that light switch was flicked down, and we came in and flicked it up. Light still worked.
Yeah.
And we even made a point to then have me go and test out different ways in which that maybe what if one of us,
what if you opened the door and reached in with your hand
really quick and turned it off? What if we somehow turned it off on our way out, and there wasn't, no matter how quick either of us could do it, there was not a way where it didn't capture it happening. Something switched it down. And whatever could have enough energy to move a physical object, I mean, that's just hard to put your head around, especially if you haven't experienced it yourself. More stories to come in the future, including the house we live in, including the house hunt that turned into a house haunt. Subscribe to me. But no, give us a thumbs up if you like this. Let us know in the comments what kind of experiences you may have had, paranormal wise. Stay tuned because there are many more stories to come. So thank you for joining us. Also, yes, I'm wearing the pumpkin slut shirt again because today I got a really cool tattoo. I can't bend. And this is a little Sanoderm, I don't know, thingamabobber. So I can't take it off to show you the real thing.
She can't even flick me.
I'm not trying to actually flick you. I didn't want to hurt you. That's love, ladies and gentlemen.